So before we start discussing the other parts of softball, first we must always dig into its history, the development, and the nature of the game. So without further ado, let's start. So for the brief history of softball, basically many people assume that softball was derived from baseball, but apparently the first game actually came about because of the football game. The history of softball dates from the Thanksgiving Day of the 1887, when several alumni sat in the Chicago, Illinois Farragut Boat Club, anxiously awaiting for the outcome of the Yale versus Harvard football. When Yale was announced as winner, the Yale alumnus playfully threw a boxing glove at a Harvard supporter. The Harvard fan swung at the balled up glove with a stick, and the rest of the group looked on with interest. George Hancock, a reporter from the Chicago Board of Trade, jokingly called it as play ball. So apparently, play ball yung unang name ng, ito yung tinawag lang, ng for softball. And the first softball game was commenced with the football fans using the boxing gloves as well as the broom handle in a plate of bat. So, di ba, naglalaro lang sila ng football and apparently, biglang nagkaroon ng new game. Parang, on that game, rose another new game. Ang napaka-imaginative naman nung mga supporter na yun kasi yon from a boxing gloves tapos yung broom, naka-invent or may na-discover na bagong game, which is ito na nga yon yung softball. However, the history of softball is still unfolding, and the game was undergone numerous of modifications since its creation in 1887. But it is still one of the most preferred sports games in the country, like America, and has developed a following in several countries throughout the world, especially in Australia, China, and Japan. Loved by amateurs and professionals of all ages and athletic background. The world can only anticipate what it is in the store for the future of America's other favorite pastime. For the nature of the game, according to the official rules developed early in the history of softball and eventually defined by the International Softball Federation, there are 9 players on the field at a time. The player takes the position of a pitcher, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, a shortstop, third baseman, and a outfielder. Usually, there are 3 outfielders holding the position of right fielders, left fielders, and the center fielder. However, slow pitch softball allows for a fourth person in the outfield. Similar to baseball, the team with the most runs at the end of the seventh inning is named the winner. However, if the teams are tied at the end of the seventh inning, the game can go on extra innings until the tie is broken. So yung game na to, yung rules niya is somehow kagaya sa baseball. Pero yung sports is nagsimula galing sa football. So yon, madali lang siyang matutunan kasi yung rules ginaya lang din sa ibang game. Kaya if you're a baseball player or either a football player, madali mong matututunan ang softball. Today, softball is one of the most popular sports in America, as what I have said a while ago, and an estimated 400 million Americans engage in at least one softball game each year. Wow! Diba? Like, if you're going to think of it, 40 million Americans. So, however, it is just a statistical data. Kaya, we might know, it might It might be more than that or less because it can be played on either a field or an indoor arena. So, compare sa ibang laro, maganda sa softball because you can play it indoor and outdoor. Softball games are played year-around and involve teams with players as young as 8 years old and some players over 60 years old. Softball is sometimes played by core-creational league, where both women and men play on the same teams. But the rules are generally modified to reduce the physical inequalities between the sexes. Often, companies and organizations form amateur co-ed teams to play for benefits and charity fundraiser events. So, compared to other team sports wherein may laro lang talaga for different yung sa panlalaki, pambabae, and namomodify din yung rules. Sa base ay sa softball, pwede rin ganon. However, pwede din silang magsama yung both sex on a one game. 'Di ba? Ang ganda lang like you're going to see an inclusive game wherein there are two sex playing. There are two sex playing sexes playing a one game like hindi mo napapansin kung babae siya o lalaki siya. You're just playing a game and one goal is to win. 'Di ba? Ang ganda lang. So for the development of softball, softball is a game that is played with a bat and ball between two teams. The field is made up of two parts, the infield and the outfield. So ito, tatalakay na natin yung two parts. In the infield, four bases form a diamond with a pitcher's mound in the middle. The outfield is often made up of grass. Navi-visualize nyo ba? Yan, i-visualize nyo lang. And tatalakay din yan later on ng isa pa nating reporter. Much like in its relative game, baseball, the defensive team stands on the field while the offensive team bats. In order to score, a player must hit the ball with a bat and run under the four bases. The batter starts at home plate and passes through first, second, and third until he comes back to home. In a typical game, after each team has had 7 at-bats, the team with the most runs wins. Three of the currently biggest differences of softball has with baseball are: first, the ball is bigger. Pitchers underhand the ball. And it is mostly a woman's sports. So yun 'di ba? Medyo in other game talaga ang softball was actually played by women rather than men. Kasi yung baseball daw pang lalaki, yung softball naman pang babae. However, yun yung perception ng iba. Pero yung game itself, it can be played by both sexes. I also make a timeline for you to much understand the flow of the development and history of softball. So on November 24, 1887, the game of softball was introduced on the Thanksgiving on Harvard-Yale football game. So yun nga, yung diniscuss ko na rin to kanina. So, it is the creation of softball on November 24, 1887, when George Hancock wrote down a list of rules and a big softball and a bat that had a rubber tip on the end. So, on January 1, 1889, dito naman yung indoor baseball or softball has become very popular in the late 1880s. 80s. By winter time in Chicago, this was the way to keep in shape for the baseball player because it could be played inside. Thus a winter league was formed. The softball were 10 to 20 inches in diameter. A fireman, Louis Rober, needs something to keep his man busy, so he marked a smaller field by the station. The smaller field would ensure that was way more action and offense than baseball. He decided to limit the games to 7 innings. So, yun nga, ginawa yung indoor or yung softball kasi for para dun sa mga player ng baseball para maging in shape pa rin yung physique nila. Para ano, mm, nandun pa rin yung hindi mawala yung momentum, mas lumakas pa din yung kanilang mga muscles and syempre nasa track pa rin. So noong January 1 naman, 1895, softball was introduced to girls through a high school that the first organized women's team was made in Chicago at the West Division High School. This was important because the only sports girl really played was field hockey and rowing. This showed a little more independence for women. So in this, makikita mo talaga na nagkaroon na ng inclusivity because nabigyan din ng chance yung mga girls to play. Kasi 'di ba mostly nakikita nila na pangit tignan daw sa babae ang maglaro ng mga ball games. But in here, nabigyan ng independence yung mga babae to play softball. So here, I've gathered an information or a timeline for you to further understand the flow of the development and the history of softball. So the first one was on January 1, 1926. As the sport was getting more popular as the years went on, it spread all over the mid-western United States. Parts of Canada even started playing these sports. Everyone seemed to follow the same rules, but the only differences was no one called it by the same name. People were calling it diamond ball, mush ball, and even pumpkin ball. Walter Halkinsons officially made the term softball a National Recreation Congress meeting. Diba, like, there are a lot of names palang tinawag sa softball para mag-come up sa name na softball. So, on October 20, 1933, after a successful tournament where 55 teams competed from around the United States, one of the founder of the tournament thought it was time to have real regulations to follow. They set rules for different ages. Kids would have smaller balls than adults and teenagers. The field size varies between fast pitch and slow pitch. So dito na nagkaroon talaga ng official association and minodify nila yung game based sa need kung sa age yon. Like it is developmentally appropriate for them to play the game. While on January 1, 1974, as softball expanded and many teenagers girls were playing, colleges started giving out scholarships na rin. This helped girls who could not afford college at its full price pay for college. This was an advantage because instead of quitting the sports that you love and having to get a job, having a scholarship helps pay for that and you could continue what you love. So while playing, nag-aaral ka din. You can finish your studies without paying any tuitions and anything kasi you have scholarships. The school provided a scholarship for you to play while studying. While on January 1, 1982, in Omaha, Nebraska, the World Series was played. The series was a total of 32 teams of 8 different regions. The two finalists were Oklahoma versus Fresno State. The winner ended up being the UCLA. Wow, di ba? Like, nakikita niyo yung flow kung paano sumikat yung baseball from paunti-unti lang hanggang sa nakilala na siya sa buong mundo. While on September 18, 1996, in the World Olympics, softball had been entered as a medal event. The US women's team had won all the events, and that was when the popularity of the sport increased. Then, unfortunately, softball was dropped as a sport in the Olympics. And on September 18, 2004, in 2004, the Women's Pro Fast Pitch Softball Leagues formed four pro teams. These four teams would be broadcast on MLB.com. And later that year, they created a World Cup for softball so the teams could go against the beat in the world once softball was taken out of the Olympics. So sadly yun nga, natanggal siya sa Olympics. So yon, gumawa rin sila ng paraan para mas makilala ulit siya sa buong mundo. Once softball was taken out of the Olympics, this was their way to still being able to compete against each other. So yun nga, as I said a while ago, dahil nang wala siya sa Olympics, they find ways to still continue to compete with this game, the softball. And on the present times, on the September 18, 2015, the National Women's Softball Association has 113 member countries. It to have become very popular. In the United States, over 25 million people play. It has impacted many people lives too. So, di ba, even today, like, yung ibang reporter kong classmates nito, they are a squad player of softball. They have won the, nanalo sila dito sa, ano natin, what do you call that? Um, sa provincial and even sa regional, nanalo sila. So, that's why, sayang because of pandemic, hindi natuloy. Sayang may pasalubong sana tayo, 'di ba? If natuloy 'yon. So, pero 'yon. I hope that mas mapalago pa rin itong game na to for that the younger generation will also explore and continue to play this game para naman 'yon for their recreational activities and magagamit nila to for exercise and doing and for also ma-refresh din yung kanilang katawan. So, thank you.
Hello and good day everyone. I am Raymark A. Neva, your next presenter for the equipment and facilities used in softball. So the first equipment is the ball. Despite the sport's name, the ball itself is not soft. The size of the ball varies according to the classification of play. The permitted circumferences in international play are 12 inches to 30 centimeter and 11 inches to 28 centimeter. The ball is most often covered in white or yellow-green leather in two pieces roughly the shape of figure 8 and sewn together with red thread. So ang kalimitang kulay ng bola ay puti or yellow-green para siguro mas madaling makita ito ng mga player at lalang-lalo na nung mag-hit ng ball. And for the next equipment is the bat. The batsman use bat to hit the ball and score runs for a team. The bat is made up of wood, aluminum, or from metals. The shape of the bat is like a cylinder and its diameter is 6 inches. The bat varies but it can not be greater than 86 centimeter. Ang kalimitang bigat ng bat ay nasa 1.2 kilogram. Ito ang ginagamit ng mga players para i-hit yung ball para makagawa ng score or runs. The next equipment is the gloves and mitts. In American Softball Association, the size of the gloves cannot be exceeded 36 centimeters. All defensive players wear fielding gloves made of leather or similar material. First baseman and catcher usually wear mitts, which with extra padding to catch the balls thrown at a higher speed. So meron tayong dalawang uri ng gloves. Yung isa ay yung mitts ay para sa mismong catcher at yung field gloves na para naman sa ibang mga players kagaya ng So the next is the batting helmet. The important piece of safety equipment in softball is the batting helmet. Constructed of rigid, durable plastic and foam, it was made to meet the safety standard to protect the batter's head from an impact. So bakit nga ba kailangang magsuot ng batting helmet? Ito ay para maprotektahan ang ulo ng player kapag nagkamali ng paghagis ng bola ang pitcher dahil kalimitang ang direksyon ng bola ay sa ulo ng magbaba. Kaya ang pagsusuot ng batting helmet ay for the safety ng player na rin. Next is the catcher equipment. Catcher's equipment, which is also referred to catcher's gear, are the essential pieces of protective equipment that a catcher wears. So ito yung mga kailangang suotin ng catcher kapag naglalaro. First is the chest protector. Chest protector is an important part of a catcher's equipment. The chest protector protects the catcher's chest both from foul balls and from pitches in the dirt. So makakatulong ito para maprotektahan ang dibdib na parte ng katawan ng catcher kapag nagkaroon ng error or fouls. So the next is the gloves. For a catcher, the glove is the most important piece equipment that can you have. A catcher's glove is a wider, more pad gloves. The glove is rounder than a normal gloves and is special designed to withstand multiple high-speed pitches. A catcher's glove is also good for picking up balls in the dirt. So itong gloves na to ay mas makapal ng konti sa kalimitang gloves na ginagamit ng pitcher at ng ibang player. At itong gloves na ito ay tanging catcher lang ang nagsusuot para mas masalo nila ang bola. Next is the catcher's helmet. A catcher's helmet is the most important piece of protective equipment. The helmet covers the head and the face of the catcher. Kailangang magsuot ng helmet kahit ang mga catcher kasi ito ang magpaprotekta sa kanya in case man na magkaroon ng error sa pagbat o sa paghagis ng bola ng pitcher. Next is the catcher leg guards. Catcher legs guard are other significant part of catcher's gear. They are two separate pieces, one per leg, made up of the combination of soft leather and hard plastic. So nakakatulong naman ito para maprotektahan din ang leg parts ng catcher and for safety na rin in case na magkaroon ng error sa paghagis ng bola. Next is the elbow protector. A softball elbow protector is a specific piece of protective equipment. Most elbow protectors are simple pieces of equipment that you strap on before you go to hit. So in case na rin na magkaroon ng error sa paghagis at pagbat ng bola, ay mapoprotektahan ng catcher ang kanyang elbow. Next is the uniform. To increase bond among players in a team, uniforms are provided. Each team wears different uniforms. So uniform ay common na naman ito sa mga kada teams na may kanya-kanyang suot na uniform para mas madali silang makilala. Those equipment na mga binanggit at pinresent ko ay yung mga kailangan at importanteng gamit ng mga player sa paglalaro ng softball. So next tayo. Next is the facilities. The playing field is divided into fair territory and foul territory. Fair territory is further divided into the infield and the outfield territory beyond the outfield fence. So meron tayong tinatawag na fair territory at foul territory. Ang fair territory ay tinatawag na infield at ang foul territory naman ay outfield. So alamin natin kung ano ito. The infield is a square or called a diamond. There is a base at each corner, first base, second base, third base, and the home plate. The pitching distance is measured from the rear point of the home plate to the front edge of the pitcher's plate. So ito yung diamond part ng infield kung saan yung kada sulok ng diamond ay nandun yung first and second and third base at yung home plate. Next is the outfield. The outfield is a grass area beyond the infield and extend the entire width of the field and the outfield fence. So ang outfield naman, ito yung sa labas ng parte ng infield, sa labas na parte ng infield. Ang kalimitang nasa grass part. So the next, let's discuss the part of the field. First is the backstop. The backstop is the area behind the home plate. Next is bases. At one corner of the diamond or the infield is the home plate with bases at each of the remaining corners. The bases are numbered counterclockwise as first base, second base, third base, and securely fastened to each branch. Each base is a 38 centimeter square and made up of white material. First base is a double base, 76.2 centimeter times by 38.1 centimeter. Home plate. The home plate is a five-sided piece of white rubber located between the two batter boxes and the catcher's box. Batter and the catcher's box. For the batter and the are the rectangular areas beside the home plate, and the catcher's box is behind the home plate. Coach's box. A coach's box is located in a foul territory outside the both sidelines. Foul lines. The two foul lines meet at the right angle of the home plate. These lines and the fence running between the baselines defines the limit of the field. Pitching circle. The pitching circle surrounds the pitching rubber. Pitching rubber. The pitching rubber is located at the center of the diamond. It is 61 centimeter wide and 15 centimeter depth. Additional, yung facilities ng softball ay mas maliit ng konti kaysa baseball, pero maghahawig lang sila ng facilities kung titignan. Thank you and good day.
Good day everyone, I am Irish Rain Baseman 1 and I'm going to present to you about the 10 basic rules of softball. So, the first basic rule is about running the bases. So, in softball or baseball, they are called first base, second base, third base, and the home plate. So, kailangan po ng runner na tumakbo in each base hanggang po makaabot sa home plate for a score. So, continuous po yun as the game proceeds on. Thank you. So, the next one will be, or the number 2 will be the 3 outs per team per inning. So, ang allowed lang po sa per inning is 3 outs. If, kunyari, na strikeouts ang tatlong pasunod na batter, automatically, the defensive team will be the offense na. And and vice versa po if each team has 3 outs and per inning. So, and so the next will be 3 strikes and you're out. So each at bat or each batter must not have a 3 consecutive strike ball na given ng pitcher. Kasi po, strikeout po ang tawag doon. And hindi po natin gugustuhin yun as a batter. So, paano ba makakatanggap ng strike? If yung bola po na binigay sa inyo or pinitch sa inyo ng pitcher is nakapasok po sa imaginary strike zone which are from your armpit to your knee level. So, ayun po. So, the next basic rules is 4 balls is a walk. So, as I say po, may imaginary strike zone po ang pitcher and umpire and catcher na nakikita. And kapag po yung pitch ng pitcher is hindi po pumasok sa imaginary strike zone, automatically, it is a balls. And kapag nakaapat po na ganun po ang pitch ng pitcher is automatically you will be awarded with 1 base. And also, yung mga nasa bases din po is mag-a-advance po for second base or third base or minsan din po may nangyayaring nabibigyan po ng score ang kalaban dahil po sa walk na pitch na ibinigay ng pitcher. Next po is the 7 innings in a game. May tinatawag pong top and half bottom ang 7 innings. What is 7 innings ba? The 7 innings is the consisting of the game of how much or how long will the game last. So, sa top and half bottom po, mayroong offensive and defensive team. And dito po makikita natin sa innings na ito kung sino po ang mananalo, which will be counted as runs sa home plate po. And let's go on for the next po is the 9 players per team. Usually po, may mga reserve players or substitute players. So, usually may 13 players po. But 9 players are only in the field. There are the positions of catcher, pitcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, center baseman, left and right outfielder, and the shortstop. So, each team is only allowed 9 players or active players in the game. So, ayun po. So, the next will be pitchers must throw underhand. So, this is a strong rule kasi po pwede pong maging illegal pitch ang mangyari sa'yo if mali po ang pagkaka-pitch mo. So, unlike po sa baseball, softball must be thrown in an underhand motion with their hand below their hip. So, ayan. So, the next will be the foul balls are softballs hit out of play. So, as what we call foul balls are any softballs hit out of the regulation field of play. On the right or left sides of the field, there is a foul line drawn in white chalk. So, usually din po nangyayari ang foul ball sa depende po kasi sa pag-hit ng batter. So, ayun po. And next will be the runners must stay within the base path. So, dito po, may tinatawag po tayong lines na dapat doon lang po tatakbo ang runners. So, kasi po may mga instances po na pwedeng mangyari within the game and magiging delikado po yun for the runners. So, while runners are advancing Through all the 4 bases, runner must stay within designated base path or they will be called out. Kasi po, minsan, may mga tag plays po na pwedeng mangyari within the game na hindi po pwedeng mag-dodge po ang runner kasi po you will be automatically out. So ayun po. So the last one will be getting hit by a pitch means a free base. Kailangan mo po galingan umarte kapag ikaw batter. So ganito po. If a pitcher hit a batter, automatically din pong free walk na po yun sa base kasi po, syempre, sino naman magiging masaya kung tamaan ka ng ball? Well, for rules po kasi talaga yun na if yung bola po is tumama po sa batter, automatically po may awarded base po. So, thank you. Yun lang po. So, karagdagang kaalaman lang po. Meron pong 2 base po sa first base, which is the orange bag and the white bag. Usually po, kapag runner ka, mas maganda pong iti-take mo po is yung white bag. But for instances na kung ikaw pa lang po ang runner, you need to step your foot on the orange bag to be safe. So, yun po. Yun lang. Thank you. So, that's it for the 10 basic rules of softball.
Hello, good day everyone. So, we are here to discuss about the sport softball that was assigned to our team, and the subtopic that was given to me is all about positions and basic terminologies in softball. So, let's start with the positions. So, there are 9 players out on the field at one time in fast-pitch softball, and 10 players in slow pitch softball. So let's start with the pitcher. Pitcher is the individual who throws the ball from the middle of the diamond. Yan yung pinaka main role. Who throws the ball from the middle of the diamond. So the pitcher, sabi nga yung pitcher is isang mahalagang member ng sa softball because sabi nga it's very hard to win without great pitching. And then ano ba yung demand, skills and role of a pitcher? Sabi dito, pwede naman great windmill mechanics, mentally tough and bounces back from failure. Yung talagang malakas yung pitcher. Good under pressure, very focused with good softball IQ. And then yung ideal body naman para sa pagiging pitcher is tall with long arms and legs. Dapat mahaba yung arms and legs mo, and then matangkad ka. Strong lower half, wide shoulders, and then flexible and explosive. Ibig sabihin flexible ka. Alam nyo naman siguro yung flexible, not that you can go with the flow, kumbaga. Pitchers need great workouts to stay healthy with as much pitching as they do. If you need a great workout, try yon. Then we have the catcher. The catcher is normally behind home plate in a squatted position. Some plays may require the catchers to stand at an angle for intentional walks. Pero yung catchers have an extremely demanding role on the team. May demanding role, extremely demanding role yung catcher sa softball. Both physically and mentally. Dapat strong ka physically and mentally because the catcher must control and corral the pitcher. He has to be physically and mentally quick. Foul tips and long days squatting and blocking in the heat make for very long draining days. Kumbaga talaga yung sa softball mas talagang babad and kailangan din ng talaga ang pitcher. So Ang ideal body naman sa pagiging pitcher, pwede siyang thick, strong, and durable. Taller catchers are becoming more common. Slightly slimmer, more athletic, and agile catchers are becoming more common. Overall, scouts want to see catchers who are very athletic, strong, and agile. So halos yung ideal body type ng pagiging pitcher is mostly the same siya sa catcher. May pinakaiba lang ng konti halos. So next, we have the first baseman. The first baseman is the position to the right side of the diamond when facing the field. The major role of the first baseman is to receive throws from other defensive player in order to get a force play at first base. Yung first baseman are the biggest power, kumbaga, biggest power hitters on a team. And they are typically very big and relatively slow because of this. So first baseman can often hide at first because they don't often have to make long throws or move around too much. But that doesn't mean first base is not a difficult person. It's easy to play an average first base, but it's not easy to be great at it. The first baseman is paid to hit and hit for power. That is also their job. And pagdating naman sa kung ano yung ideal body ng pagiging first baseman is left-handed as a plus. Kumbaga, pag left-handed ka, mas may advantage. Next, we have a strong arm is a bonus but not overly important. Parang bentahe rin na meron ka ng strong arm. Good feeling skills needs to be able to pick balls and read bad throws. Dapat, kumbaga, marunong ka ng bumasa ng mga, magaling kang bumasa ng mga, ng iyong mga kalaban. Kung saan pupunta yung bola, ano yung gagawin nila, ganon. Quick reflexes. Batted balls come to first base hot. Small players will not get recruited to play in college as a first baseman. So yon, small players. Talagang diniinan ha, small players will not get recruited to play in college as a first baseman. So sorry na lang sa ating mga small. Then we have the next to first baseman is the second baseman. The second baseman plays in between the first baseman and the gap at second. So yung second baseman in softball are typically, they are the great defensive players but often lack of strong throwing arm. Hindi gaya dun sa mga naunang position, ang talagang kailangan ay merong strong arm. Pero dito sa second baseman, sabi dito, softball are typically great defensive players but often lack a strong throwing arm. Ito naman, dapat yung demands skills in role of second baseman is very agile and quick, great IQ of the game, and then excellent glove and defensive skills, need an adequate arm but it doesn't need to be a cannon. Should be fast and skilled contact hitter. Dapat mabilis din yung mabilis ka din sa ng bola. And then typically spark plug type player who gets on base and makes things happen on the base paths. And then yung ideal body naman is second baseman have to be very quick and agile defenders and have value on the bases. They don't have to be big and hit for power, so they are often smaller players. Kung dun sa first baseman, hindi pwede yung small players. Dito sa second baseman, sabi rito, so they are often smaller players. So, okay na okay dito yung mga small players. Then, after that, we have the shortstop. Shortstop. Yung shortstop is the shortstop fields all balls hit to the infield between the second and the third bases. Yung shortstops are usually the best athletes on the field at all levels of softball. So very important din ang role ng shortstops. Ano ba ang skills and role ng shortstop? Must have an excellent glove skills, excellent range and agility, excellent arm strength, and then excellent field vision and understanding of where to go and other players' movement. So, parehas halos na dapat marunong kang bumasa ng galaw ng kalaban. Must be mentally tough and have strong leadership skills. Yung shortstop dapat must be mentally tough and have strong leadership skills. So, pwedeng ikaw rin yung magiging susundan or ikaw yung magiging lead sa paglalaro nyo ng softball, which is the shortstop. We have also after ng shortstop, we have the third baseman. Yung third baseman, the third baseman is the position on the left side of the diamond when you are looking at the field. The third baseman have a similar skill set to shortstop, but they hit for more power and are more offensive in general with slightly less range and foot. Third baseman don't have to move as much compared to the others, so they can be bigger bodied. So yung demand skills and role naman ng third baseman is very strong arm and to make long throws across the diamond. Is not afraid of the ball because line drives come fast. Meron kasi ng mga player na papaparating na yung bola parang umiilag. Pero sabi dito dapat yung third baseman is not afraid of the ball because line drives come fast. Not as much fielding range as the shortstop. One of the better power hitters on the team, typically. Yung shortstop daw is a better power hitters. And yung ideal body niya naman is moves very well and is fast with fast footwork. Big, strong, athletic, and agile. Excellent hand-eye coordination. And strong, accurate, and throwing man. And we have the outfielders. The outfielders are players that cover the grassy area behind the infield. Outfielders are named for their positions in the field relative to home plate. Meron din sila ng mga different fielder na tawag. We have the right fielder, center fielder, and left fielder. Yung left fielder are typically have good speed and fielding skills and are expected to be good contributors at the plate. While the center fielder, the position number 8, requires lots of speed and great fly ball reading ability. It's the most demanding outfield position with lots of ground to cover. And then last naman yung number 9, the right fielder position. The number 9 on the field, right fielders are most commonly known for their very strong arms. So here is the picture of the different positions. We have the catcher, the pitcher, the first base, second base, third base, shortstop, left fielder, center fielder, and the right fielder. That is the correct sequence. Kung halimbawa the numbering of the positions in softball. We have also here different terminologies used on softball. Base on balls. Batter to advance first base by the umpire calling for pitchers outside the strike zone. Defense team on the field. Kung sino yung nasa field, yung tinatawag na defense team. Double means 2 base hit. And we have also the double play, which is defensive play result and 2 outs as a result of continuous action. Error, mishandling of the ball by the defense team. Fair ball hit within the area, boundaries of the field, first, second, third base. And we have also the fly ball. Any ball batted on the air, that is fly ball. Foul tip. Foul ball which goes directly from the bat, not higher than the batter's head to the catcher's hand and legally cause. Force out. Runner is forced to move, may tag runner or touch base. Home run. Ball batted into fair territory which enabled the batter to all 4 bases in one play. Infield. Portion of the field which is included within the diamond made by the baseline. Infield fly. Fair fly ball which can be caught with ordinary effort when first and second or first, second and third bases are occupied before 2 are out. And last we have the offensive team at the bat. Yung defensive team, yung on the field, while the offensive team is team at the bat. Foul ball hit outside of the baseline, determined by infield and outfield. Yung infield where it rests, outfield where it first hits. That was my discussion about my subtopic in softball, which is different positions and basic terminologies. Thank you and have a good day.
Today I am going to discuss about the 5 basic skills to play softball. Number 1, catching. Number 2, throwing. Number 3, fielding. Number 4, hitting. And number 5, base running. Number 1 is catching. Catching is an important defensive skills. Fielders can get a batsman out by catching the ball provided it does not bounce first. In playing softball, catching is very important. Kasi kung alam mo ang proper ng pagsalo ng bola, mataas ang tsansa na maka-out ka ng batter. For example, naglalaro kayo ng championship. Tapos, ang position mo is the fielder, center field. Tapos, yung batter, nagbat. Yung bola papunta sa'yo. Tapos, ang bola ay fly ball. Ikaw na batter, kailangan mo na titingnan mo ang bola. Dapat, bago bumagsak ang bola, masalo mo para ma-out mo yung batter.
Start with both arms extended at about chest level. Notice that your hands form a W. This is perfect. Bend your elbows and bring them towards the sides of your torso. Your arms should be bent at about 90-degree angles. The fingers of your glove should be behind the ball so that your pocket is entirely open. Your throwing hand needs to be poised next to your glove so you can catch the ball with.
Next is throwing. Underarm pitching is mandatory in softball, but players still need to be capable of throwing the ball with the speed and accuracy. This helps to prevent the opposing team from scoring runs. Kasi sa paglalaro ng softball, mahalaga to, magkasama tong catching and throwing. Kasi, kung halimbawa, sa number 1, sa catching, yung fly ball yung bola, hindi mo nasalo. Tapos, ang sunod mong gagawin, to-throw mo yung bola. Dito sa pag-throw ng bola, napakaraming way. And, kailangan mo na maayos at mabilis. And kailangan mag-isip kung saan mo sunod na ipapasa yung bola para yung batter hindi siya makarating doon sa home base. Kasi pag once na makarating na siya sa home base, score na yon. Wala ka ng chance na ma-out yun. Kaya sa pag-throw, kailangan mabilis. Hindi yung pabagal-bagal. The next,
I'm going back as slow as I can to feel that twisting motion. My ball is down. I throw, I'm unraveling my forearm so that way when I throw, it's snapping and I'm coming across my body. And then, lastly with that drill,
The next is fielding. Fielding. Good fielders support the pitcher and respond quickly whether the ball comes to them from the air or rolling along to the ground. They need to have an idea of what their next move is after getting the ball. Kasi sa softball, sa paglalaro ng softball, hindi lang pabilisan yan. Kailangan mo rin dyan ng isip, ng utak. Kasi, dito sa fielding, kadalasan pinag-uusapan dito yung mga strategy nyo ng team nyo. Dito, nagpa-practice kayo, halimbawa, gagawa kayo ng strategy para, halimbawa, sa actual game, yung batter, nakapunta po siya dun sa second base. Tapos, yung sunod na batter, dun na, yung gagawin ng yung ginawa nyo sa training, i-apply nyo na siya doon sa actual game. So, bago yun gagawin ng team nyo, yung pinag-practicean yung play, sasign muna yan yung catcher o kaya the pitcher. Kung yung play bang practicean nyo nung nagtitraining kayo ay i-apply nyo sa game na yon. Kasi kung i-apply nyo dun sa game na yon, dapat sure kayo na ma-out nyo. Kasi may mga chance na nagkakaroon ng error. Dun sa pagkakaroon ng error, dun mas napapalala nyo pa yung sitwasyon. Kaya kung hindi kayang gawin yung play na yun, doon na lang sa next na play na pinapraktisan nyo. So dito sa fielding, sabi nga, they need to have an idea of what their next move is after getting the ball. Kasi, halimbawa ako, yung first base. Tapos, doon sa akin papunta yung bola. Ako, kailangan ko mag-isip kung saan ko ipapasa yung bola. Dapat may target. Kasi, kailangan mong mabilis mag-isip sa paglalaro ng softball. Kasi sabi nga, paurutakan yan. Kasi kung hindi ka mabilis mag-isip, hindi mo alam kung saan may papasa yung bola, mamimiss mo yung, halimbawa, yung player, papunta na dun sa sa home base, tapos pinasa mo sa second base. So, mali. Nakaka-score na yung hitting. Hitting, in order to hit a ball well, a batsman need to have a good hand-eye coordination and be capable of responding quickly. Once players develop these skills, they can begin to choose the area that they want the ball to land to avoid the fielders. So, sa softball, kailangan mong mahit ang bola para makapasok ka sa first base. Kasi kung hindi mo mahit yung bola ng maayos, pwedeng dyan lang sa pitcher o kaya sa catcher, o kaya naman pwede kang ma-3 strike out ka. So, sa hitting, kailangan mo dyan ng coordination, mabilis ang mata mo. Dapat nakatutok ka doon nakafocus ka. Para, pagdating ng bola sa may sayo, mahit mo yung bola. So,
First, let's talk about the grip. If you are right-handed, your right hand should be on top. And if you are left-handed, your left hand should be on top. Your bottom hand shouldn't be more than 2 or 3 finger widths away from the knob of the bat. When you hold the bat, The knuckles you would use to knock on a door should be lined up. Lining up your knuckles like this will allow you to roll your wrists properly as you swing. Now that you've gotten your grip, let's go over the stance. Set your feet as wide as is comfortable. Bend your knees and get into a strong, athletic stance. Your toes, hips, and shoulders should all be facing the plate. Your toes should also be lined up. Keeping your torso fairly upright, take your bat and place it on your back shoulder and relax your elbows. The barrel of your bat should be parallel to the ground. Your arms should take the shape of the letter A. From here, simply raise both arms straight up until your hands are at about ear level.
The last is the base running, moving between bases swiftly in the only way the team can score runs as the batsman moves. He or she needs to be aware of what else is going on in the game and the location of the other team's fielder. So, dito sa base running, na-hit mo na yung bola, nakapunta ka sa first base. Ang gagawin mo, kailangan mo mag-steal. Kailangan, halimbawa, pag nag-bat yung kakampi mo, pag na-hit niya yung bola, kailangan mo na magbilis tumakbo papuntang second base. Kasi, sa paglalaro ng softball, maraming rules yan. Pag once na na-hit ng kakampi mo yung bola, tapos hindi ka nakaalis sa base mo, sa first base, out ka. Kasi yung nakahit ng bola, understood niya na pupunta sa first base. So, kailangan mo na mabilis tumakbo rito sa base running para hindi ka ma-out, maka-score ka. And thank you.